Welcome to today's webinar. We are doing a live demo of HostGator's new customer portal. We're going to cover some of the updates and features that we think you're going to love. We'll do a live demo and then have some time for questions and answers. By the way, the new portal is live today. So the next time that you log into your portal, you will see the updated version. So we're really glad that you're here to take a tour with us, because this new portal, it's designed to make your task of managing your website easier. We can't wait to show it to you. So let's get started. First off, let me introduce myself. I'm Blair Williamson, the Content Marketing Manager for HostGator, and I'll be your moderator today. Joining me is Sean Dundon, the Product Manager for HostGator. Sean's team has been busy building your new customer portal, so I'm glad to have him here today to show us the goods. Sean has worked with many teams around HostGator, from systems administration to support and customer experience. And really, his avatar should be wearing a navy blue cap because he's a big fan of the Houston Astros. Sean, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Blair. Thanks to everyone for attending. Really excited to show you all what we've been working on.
Great. I know that you're excited to talk about those improvements, so let's get started.
So today we're going to give you an overview of the new customer portal, the improvements we made in the new version. Then we'll do a live demo and show you how to accomplish some common tasks. We'll go set up a website and set up an email account. And then at the end of the time, we'll have some time to answer your questions.
That's great, Sean. So I'm sure that everybody's really excited to see it. As a reminder, if you haven't logged in yet, then surprise, this new portal is live today. So the next time that you log in, you're going to see all of these updates in your portal. So we're really glad to be able to show it to you today. If you're watching this webinar, then you probably already have a website with us, or you're in the process of building one. So we're curious, we want to know, what type of website do you have, or what type of website are you working towards? There should be a survey that's popping up on your screen now. Take a moment, look at these choices, and select the one that most closely represents the type of website you're working on. I'll give you a moment to look at the choices and select the one that's most closely related to you. Okay, so these numbers kept going back and forth, but it's really interesting to see that about half of you are working on a website that's a small business with less than 10 employees. And then coming in second is a portfolio website, hobby site, some sort of blog. Thanks for taking a minute to answer that for us. We always want to make sure we're giving you the best information for what you're working on. So before we get started, let me tell you real quick, and you should have seen it on the bottom of this slide, we are live on social media today. So you can follow along on social media with the hashtag HGPortal. Our social media manager, Jana Thibodeau, is online, and she's going to be following along with your questions there. So in addition to the question box in GoToWebinar, you can send questions on Twitter using hashtag HGPortal. So now, Sean, why don't you talk us through the new portal?
Great. Yeah, so in our first slide here, and obviously we'll go through this live in a moment, but you can see a bit of a contrast between our old portal on the left and the new one on the right. So we really focused on providing a much cleaner, more modern experience, and pivoting the focus a little bit as well. Should be cleaner, easier to read, and more targeted towards common tasks. Not that invoices aren't, of course, very exciting. In addition, we also have made this a mobile responsive layout. So if you look on the next slide, you'll see a side-by-side comparison of this same page, but collapsed to a mobile device. If you could move the slide forward one. Great. And so you can see how on a mobile device previously, things compacted together, but the text simply got a lot smaller, so it was still very hard to read, a lot of pinching and zooming required. So with our new layout, the menu on the left will collapse automatically. The hosting dashboard will stay the same, but it will respond to the size of your window. So not even just in a mobile device, but when desktop real estate gets a little crowded and you're working on other projects, you can always shorten over that portal window without losing any functionality. Great. And then you'll see past that, we have our redesigned marketplace. We wanted to make sure that these critical features and add-ons were easily available in an unobtrusive way. We're going to be going through the G Suite and the SSL one in a little bit of detail during our live demo, but we do have one more preview of the HTTPS management as well. So that's on our next slide. Yeah, so you can see this. For those of you who aren't aware, HostGator did roll out free SSLs for all customers late last year, middle of last year. So we're really excited to be able to provide these Let's Encrypt SSLs. There was a time in the past where, due to requiring a dedicated IP address, for instance, SSLs were a bit more complicated. But recent advances in technology have allowed us to make this available for everybody, and we're really glad to provide that with you. So you can use this new SSL manager in the new version of the portal to check on the status of those, upgrade them if you need an extended validation or something like that as well. And that's it. Happy to jump into the demo.
Cool, thanks, Sean. So now I'm going to give you presenter access so we can see your screen.
Okay, terrific. All right, so let's start at the beginning with logging in. So now you all have my email address, so there's no excuses for not writing. Let me get my password real quick. We'll go ahead and hop in. So as we mentioned, we have the new modern look and feel here. A few things to point out. The first, which I'm sure it upsets me greatly, and I'm sure many of you as well, but we no longer have Snappy on the page here. Previously, you would have noticed our big blue alligator friend at the top left. We did remove that again to just provide more clarity, less distractions, and maintain a clear ability to read through and get to the important information. At any time, you can click on the top left there at the logo to get back to the home page. And we can also collapse the menu on the left. Again, that'll happen if you're in a responsive mode, but when real estate's at a premium, you can do that on the desktop as well. At the top right, you'll notice the one click for chat support. So I can open that in a new tab, let you see how we made sure to get chat support as available as possible. So wherever you are in the process, that's always one click away. In addition, we have our knowledge base search right there at the top. So when you are in need of further resources, guidance, you're looking at something new for the first time and want to get off to a running start, we have all of that available here. For instance, this is going to be helpful because in a moment, we're going to be setting up our free SSL on WordPress. In addition, we have the account menu. So from the profile, you can change your contact information. This is especially important to keep up to date for domain registration and for some other add-on services such as G Suite, where if you need to be able to validate your account at some point in the future, or lost password, etc., this will be the profile information that's used for that purpose. On the settings tab, you can change your password or change your PIN. It is important to keep that PIN number secure. So always a good habit to reset that if you've forgotten it. And then we have a couple other links, again, to request a migration if you're bringing in a new site from another provider, to get to that knowledge base again, or to view our main website. Finally, you'll notice in the template the feedback button on the bottom right. We're always looking for feedback. I appreciate those of you who are able to join us today. If you ever have any additional feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Again, if you need immediate assistance, we have our chat link right at the top right. So going back to the homepage, and we'll talk through some of the menu items here on the left. Again, you'll notice when you log in, instead of having the invoices displayed first, we show your current hosting packages. You can also get to a list of those hosting packages by going to the hosting menu on the left-hand side. At this point, I only have one, so it's pretty straightforward. On the marketplace, you'll see we showed this in the slide deck. Very simple and easy to use marketplace here. So G Suite's one that we'll look at in a little bit, in addition to the SSL management. And we also have some quick links into be able to set up WordPress, browse themes, etc., in addition to the ad credits, of course, that come with signing up. In the domains menu, you'll see a list of the domains that you have registered with HostGator. Little bit of a public service announcement. Always double check the domain name before you buy it. I was intending to demo portalv2demo.com here today and didn't notice, so we're going to be demoing portalv2demo.co. But from this page, you can make a lot of changes to any of the domains you have registered with us, updating your contact information, toggling domain privacy or domain locking, viewing your name servers, etc. You also get a lot of that current information at a glance, so you know what your current name servers for this domain are set to, if privacy is enabled, etc. And of course, always strongly encourage the domain privacy. Finally, on the billing tab, you can see your recent billing history. Very easy to click through here, see your invoices, understand what all of that was. You can print them off if you need to, filing a reimbursement or for just tracking purposes. In addition, from this menu, you can make a payment, see your credit cards on file, etc. And then finally, on our support link, again, we have the live chat at the top right, so you can always get to that. We have the live chat here again, our knowledge-based search, and our phone numbers. In case you can't remember, I always find it's pretty easy. You can always dial 1-866-96-GATOR. So with that done, let's go ahead and actually dig through setting up a website and setting up an email address really quickly. So I clicked into my hosting packages to get my list of hosting packages, and I went to portalv2demo.co. This is a hatchling package that I have set up for this purpose. You'll notice at the top we have some basic information about your package, the billing information, and the name servers for the servers that your domain is sitting on. So ideally, these should be the same as the domain, the name servers listed over on the domain menu on the left. So as long as your domain is pointed to these name servers, even if it's with another domain provider, then you'll be all set up for hosting. You can see more technical information under the settings tab. So your specific IP address, if maybe you're pointing the domain, instead of setting the NS records to point to HostGator, you're setting your A records to point to HostGator. You would see your IP address here. In addition, you'd say your username and your server host name in case you use SSH or FTP or anything like that to log in. And you can turn on that SSH access if you want to. And then finally, on the billing details, you'll see currently when your package is set to renew, what the base price is, etc. Back to the overview tab, we have a few quick links directly into cPanel. If you know exactly what you're looking to do, you can get in there quickly. We do have a single sign-on into cPanel, so by and large, unless you're using FTP or SSH or something like that, you don't really need to remember that password or to log into cPanel directly. You can always just log into Portal to get there. And then below that, we have collapsed the same marketplace that we showed previously. So you can easily get to G Suite. You can see I have that one set up on this, or the SSL management. So for now, we're going to go ahead and set up WordPress. I'm going to go the long route. Instead of taking the shortcut, I'm going to go into cPanel directly just to walk through this really quickly, hopefully make it a little more clear. So under Website Essentials, it's easy to go to Site Builder and CMS here on the left-hand side. And then we're going to go with WordPress. We're installing WordPress 5.0.3. So this is the most up-to-date version of WordPress right now. Let's create a website. Not always easy, but easier and easier every day. Again, you all have my email address, so no excuses for not writing. Set the terms of service and go ahead and install this. Now, while that installs, I'm not sure how many of you have tried the new version of WordPress, but as of version 5, WordPress has rolled out a new editor they refer to as Gutenberg. It's a very flexible editor. You can see here on their demo page for it at wordpress.org/Gutenberg. It has a lot of in-text editing. It's very straightforward, very intuitive. So I really liked what they've done here. It's probably closest to a true what you see is what you get interface that the internet has had up until today. So really great experience there. So we'll be using that. Let's see. Okay, looks like we got it set up. So I'm going to copy this password. Please don't hack my tiny little website. And let's go and see what it looks like right now. I loaded it earlier, so it's just an empty directory, as you can see. So right now we have a template, just a landing page coming soon. So we'll go ahead and log in. Okay. So now there's only a few things we're going to walk through here real quick, just the basics of setting up a dashboard or a WordPress site with SSL. So first things first, I always like to set my theme. So we go to Appearance and Themes on the left-hand menu here. And I am very fond of this 2017 theme. Makes me feel like I could be a better gardener. I don't know. Okay, so we've got that activated. You can see the new theme has been activated there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change that first post. There's always a hello world post that comes with WordPress. It's not quite my language style, so we'll go ahead and update that one. So, hello world, do an edit. And again, so you can see the new editor in WordPress 5. It's very clear, a lot of white space, very easy to focus on what you're working on. I'm going to say, let's go something a little more Texan. I really like how the keyboard shortcuts work really well. So bolding is very simple, italicizing, same thing, very easy to do. So that's good enough for now. We'll go ahead and publish that. And then let's go back to our dashboard here. So we've updated this post and we've set our theme. We want to go ahead and remove the coming soon page. Great, our site is now live. And we're going to do one last thing. So back over in Portal, we're going to double check that our SSL is installed and configured correctly. This should be done automatically for you, not long after provisioning. Once the domain is pointed, we'll automatically install the SSL, go through the process of domain verification and configure it for you. So sometimes it might take a little bit if your domain isn't set up yet, but once everything's set up, it should turn on here. We can see, sure enough, that there is an active Let's Encrypt SSL configured on this domain. They only last about 3 months at a time for security reasons. They're free, so why not just keep generating new ones, right? So great, we have the SSL installed. We'll go back to our site here, and we're just going to change it to use that SSL certificate. So to do that, we go into Settings and General. And all we do is just add the S here in front of HTTP. So we're going to make it into a secure HTTP. Once I save this, it's going to kick me out, but you'll see this big not secure icon will also go away because we'll be behind an SSL. Obviously, for the sake of this website, I'm not going to be collecting credit card numbers or storing any personal information of anybody's, but nonetheless, in 2019, it's really important to provide your users that level of comfort that to the extent that they are communicating with you, they don't have to worry about being eavesdropped on. Same reason we put letters around, or we put envelopes around our letters when we send them, even if they're just correspondence, you know. So that's it. I'm logged in. I can see that it's on HTTPS now. We've updated our post. We've set our theme. So let's see what our website looks like. Not too bad. Yeah, I really like this theme. Yeah, and you can see our post there, our bold and italics, looks very similar to how it did in the editor. We have our HTTPS setups, so there's no not secure warning or anything like that. Just a matter of a couple minutes. So really straightforward process to set up a website here with Portal v2 and the WordPress 5. It's really just a breeze. So with our WordPress created, our website up and running, let's go ahead and create an email address. So I'm going to go to portalv2demo.co again. And in this case, I've gone with G Suite for an email provider. It's habit, you know. If I used Excel more often, maybe I would go with a different provider, but I'm a big fan of Google here. So I launched this in a different tab. We could launch it in the same tab. So we'll let this load up really quickly. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new test user account. I don't have an employee in the portalv2demo.co organization. It's really just a one-man show. But we're going to create another user. Oh no, it looks like I might already have a user on here. Okay, then let's go back and let's order another user. Actually, let me see. Let's see if Google will let me. Okay, yeah, so I already have another user. I'm going to go ahead and create a user. I'm just going to do it manually. You could do more than one at a time if you wanted to. It really depends on how large your organization is. If you're setting up G Suite for the first time and you have a team of 5 to 10 people, it might be a little easier to do the several users at once. But for me, I'm just going to create this one user. We'll call it Jane Smith. And she gets a very unoriginal email address. I'm going to set the password manually here, just as something I already have. And I'm not going to require poor Jane to change her email address. So you have jane.smith at portalv2demo.co. Close this out. I'm actually going to log out of Google here. Great. Now I'm just going to go to Gmail. My name is Jane. My name is Jane Smith at portalv2demo.co. My super secret password. I will accept the terms of service. And I will not protect my account. I'm going to leave it vulnerable to the world. And here we go. We're into Gmail. The MX records are already set up automatically once G Suite is configured with your domain. So all new email will automatically come here. So I can easily send an email to Jane Smith at portalv2demo. Google doesn't always like to send email to itself, but okay, there you go. And so we've confirmed that the DNS is working, the email is correctly configured, and it's really that simple. So really helpful when you have a team that's already familiar with Gmail to introduce them to G Suite. A lot easier than configuring their phone to work with a different IMAP provider and things like that. So that really takes us through it. At this point, we've gone through all of the different menus in the Portal v2. We set up a really straightforward WordPress site, and we set up a new employee with their G Suite account, and also took a quick look at the SSL management page. That concludes our live demo portion.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Sean. That was really helpful, and I can see there's a lot in there in the new portal that's going to, hopefully this design is going to make it a lot easier for people to manage their accounts. A few reminders for everybody that's still online. We are recording this webinar, so if you get stuck, you'll get an email of the recording. If you get stuck, you can always go back to the recording and follow Sean through some of those same steps, especially when it comes to SSL. It seems like a lot of you had some questions about SSL, which we will get to. And as always, if you need help, you can reach out to our customer support team. They are available 24/7, 365 to help you with anything regarding your website or your account. You can find them at support.hostgator.com. And there's 3 ways you can reach them. You can reach them by phone, chat, or by email ticket. So I know someone was asking about being overseas, not wanting to call back multiple times. So be sure to look at the option to do live chat or email ticket. So I know we had quite a few questions that came in during the webinar. You can, as a reminder, you can use the chat feature on the right, or you can tweet us with hashtag HGPortal. Jana has been collecting some of your questions during those webinars, during the webinar, and we'll go over some of those together. If we don't get a chance to answer your question, then be looking for an email. We may be putting together a blog post with some of the common questions. So there's quite a few questions already, and so we're going to jump into it. Sean, first off, I know that you mentioned that you're working on some additional improvements to the portal. Would you like to talk about some of those?
Yeah, I'm actually glad you mentioned that. So we do have another update coming in the very near future. The big update we're going to be making is to a lot of more of the colors and some of the other aspects of the portal. So we will be leaving the current layout and functionality and all of that the same, but we are making some changes to improve the contrast and to get closer to modern accessibility standards for the visually impaired, etc. So there will be some style changes there. But yeah, I think that's probably the biggest one that we're likely to see in the immediate future.
Okay, great. I know that there was a lot of chatter going on in the chat section about some people don't see the new portal yet. They logged in, didn't see it, or somebody logged in, logged out, and logged in again and then saw it. So can you clarify, are we on like a rolling push for people to get the new portal, or when should everyone expect to see that?
It might be that it's still pushing through that update, but it should be at some point today.
Okay, so everybody just, maybe try logging out and logging back in again, and hopefully you'll see that update later today as it's rolling through the different accounts. So Sean, the portal is now mobile responsive. Does that mean that I can edit my website on my phone as well?
That's a great question, and it really depends on what website you're using. So if you have a developer creating a website for you, that's a great thing to talk about with them if that's an important functionality to you, because it really does need to be taken in as a consideration as early as possible. If you use something like WordPress, they're doing pretty well with mobile responsiveness. You just want to make sure you're up to the most recent version. So by and large, really depends on the software that you're running for your website. But we are seeing generally in the industry, everyone is moving in that direction because more and more users today are accessing the internet through a mobile device, and that's especially true outside of the United States, where a lot of our more and more sort of internet users are.
Okay, so Sean, we had quite a few questions about SSL. From a high level, can you talk a little bit about maybe why someone would need an SSL and why it's important? And then I have a couple more detailed questions too.
Yeah, so I would start with SSLs are critically required for e-commerce. So anytime that you're accepting payment and a customer is going to be filling in their credit card information or otherwise giving you sensitive information, you really want to make sure that you can secure it. So without the details of getting into the technical details of what an SSL is, it provides that functionality such that only the server and the user's computer understand what's being sent, and no one in the middle, not even anyone at HostGator, can intercept that traffic until the web page is ready to be served. So it's really critical for that. We also find, though, that especially with Chrome's recent update, where if you don't have an SSL, it will say not secure in a gray box next to the URL of your site. And generally, customers are a bit more confident and will have a little more trust in sort of the professionality of the website that they're at if it is encrypted with an SSL. I would expect personally that over time, we do see Google start to take that into account with SEO as well. A lot of major companies on the internet have been pushing very strongly to get SSL everywhere. But ultimately, it comes down to to just privacy. And we know how important that is to users today. And providing that SSL lets them understand that all of their communications with that website will be private. So the same reason we have private conversations with our family members, doesn't mean that anything is, we're giving credit cards or anything like that, but nonetheless, privacy is valued.
Okay, so a couple of questions that we had specific to SSL. Are all of the website accounts, do they all qualify for that free SSL?
Yes, so on our shared cloud and OWP servers, so optimized WordPress, every domain that is pointed to a HostGator server is eligible for that free SSL. On our reseller servers, we've enabled the functionality in WHM so that resellers can manage their own SSLs and can manage that access for their customers. So it's really up to the resellers how they want to do that, and they can make those changes through WHM. And then our dedicated and VPS customers, the technology behind this, we're leveraging auto SSL using Let's Encrypt. That same functionality is available to you via WHM and your server interface. So you're welcome to enable that as well. So yes, this should be available in some form to every domain that HostGator is hosting.
Okay, so do they turn it on in that, like in the marketplace where you showed, right? You clicked on the button and went through the steps to turn it on.
Correct, yeah. So the Portal v2, we've really closely integrated with our shared cloud and optimized WordPress environments. We don't have a tight integration with our dedicated VPS or reseller environments, as generally in those cases, the customer by and large manages their server as they see fit, and so we don't want to impose upon that. But for those reseller, dedicated, and VPS customers, you can log in through the WHM, the Web Host Management Portal of your cPanel, which you should be familiar with, and if not, we have some great KB articles, and the support team can help you with how to get in there. Yeah, for all this shared cloud and optimized WordPress customers, you can just go right into the marketplace and go to the SSL management, click manage, and be able to view all of your SSLs there.
Okay, great. I think that was all about, somebody did ask about if they have multiple sites. I guess, do they need to switch to log into each site individually or click through each one to turn on the SSL for each site?
In fact, we've enabled them by default. It is important to us to provide this to our customers, so you shouldn't need to go in and turn on the SSL itself. In terms of changing WordPress to leverage the SSL, you will need to do that on a per site basis. We did look at whether or not we could do that for customers, but ultimately the risk of making a change to other people's websites when they're up and running and they're functional, we couldn't establish the confidence that we needed to do that. So we would recommend logging into WordPress. If you look at the KB article for HostGator free SSL, we recommend a couple of plugins for WordPress that can do that for you even more easily than the method I took. There's also instructions for a lot of other common CMSs like Joomla and Drupal. So the SSL will be made available by default. You only need to opt out of having the SSL made available. In terms of actually configuring your website to use the SSL, that you will need to do on your end for each site, yes.
Yeah, and then those SSLs, they automatically update every few months, correct? Or does somebody need to put in the request to automatically to update the SSL?
We will automatically update the SSLs. Again, we keep them short because SSLs are basically just a secret magic number. And so the older they are, the more likely somehow they might leak, whatever. So just general best practices for these Let's Encrypt SSLs is that they last about 3 months, and then we actually renew them early. So we start renewing them about a month before they expire just to make sure that there's no gap. And that should be completely seamless. So you really shouldn't even notice that the SSL has been renewed.
Okay. Another common question that we got is about emails. So you showed how to turn on G Suite email. Are there other types of emails that are available? And is there a limit to the number of emails you can have for one website or for accounts?
Yeah, great question. So I did use G Suite. I'm partial to Google myself. Um, There is still the HostGator hosted email, where we do provide unlimited email addresses, and darn near unlimited email sending and receiving volumes as well. Obviously, of course, we're close partners with Constant Contact if you're looking more for email marketing instead of sort of email correspondence for your organization. And then I expect later in the year, closer to August or September, we will likely be rolling out another email solution as well with another partner.
Ah, yes, you are hinting towards the cool things coming ahead.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that covers a good highlight of the questions that we received. Again, I think we will put together a follow-up blog post just to go through these questions again in not quite detail, but so that you have them if we did miss a detail of your question that you asked. But again, thank you for joining us today. Thanks, Sean, for your help. I think this was really helpful for people to see how to manage their account in the new portal. You can visit our website at hostgator.com/blog/resources for upcoming webinars or to find recordings of previous webinars. For instance, just last week we did a webinar on our new Gator website builder. So you can visit that website to find other webinars, and we'll put a recording to this one there as well. Again, if you need help with your website, customer support is always available 24/7, 365 at support.hostgator.com. And you can reach them by phone, chat, or email ticket. If you'll be getting our monthly newsletter with ideas for how to grow your business or improve your website, but if you don't receive that, you can subscribe by texting Snappy Tips to 22828, and that's on the bottom of your screen now. Finally, we have an interesting opportunity for you. Sean is putting together a customer advisory panel, and he would like to chat with you directly about feedback on using the new portal or anything else involving your account, any other challenges you have with our products. If you're interested in being involved in a one-on-one session with Sean or part of the customer advisory panel, there's a link that's going to be popping up in the chat window now. You can fill out that little form to let us know that you're interested, and we'll possibly even send you some snappy socks as a thank you. Look for that in the chat window on the side, or you can simply type "choose me" and your email address in the question box, and we will reach out. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.